Hello and welcome back to the Celebrity Almanac channel. As I've said before, my name is Ed Lewis and I'm the creator and author of the Celebrity Almanac. And today I want to talk to you about the two largest gifts for the arts in Ventura County. And I was able to acquire those gifts, one from an individual and one from a company. And the individual is Richard Carpenter. You may remember him from he and his sister's fantastic career in the 70s and early 80s. What I want to do is I want to show you a graphic, and I'll get it up here as best I can so you can see it. And it's a graphic of a sign on Thousand Oaks Boulevard at the Civic Arts Plaza. And the sign is the Mary and Richard Carpenter Plaza Park. And it's on the backside of an amphitheater structure. And the main boulevard is Thousand Oaks Boulevard, and that was a major selling point. So here's the graphic. I'll hold it up there fairly close and steady, and you can see the graphic, Mary and Richard Carpenter Plaza Park. Now, this gift was a $3 million gift by Richard Carpenter. And what I'm going to be talking about in fundraising vernacular, and I'm going to show you another graphic, and it's called the Pyramid of Giving. And I'll show it to you and then turn it around and read some of the information. You can see that there's the bottom of the pyramid, and then donors work their way up in giving, and the ultimate gift that you're hoping to get is a planned gift, a major estate gift, or a naming opportunity. And in this case, the $3 million was a naming opportunity. I want to talk about that at the bottom of this pyramid of giving is just a general way for folks to get involved with your nonprofit organization. And one of the major ways is through special events, where they will come to a special event. Then if you're fortunate, you would move them up to a membership giving level so that on an annual basis they're a member. And in this case, we would be talking about the Alliance for the Arts Founders Club. And the Founders Club membership was a one-time gift of $50,000. So that was the highest gift on just an annual giving basis. After that, there was a smaller continuance fee, much less, somewhere in the neighborhood of like $1,500 a year. And like I said, ultimately, you want to move a donor prospect up to the top level of the pyramid, which is a major gift of some sort. Now, let me mention to you that this is called, in fundraising, moves management. Literally, MOVES, moves management, where an interested donor who comes into your organization, probably through a special event or maybe just an annual appeal, the end of year appeal that you might put out. A good fundraiser will gauge the interest of a donor and try to move that donor along from an entrance or an introduction to the organization to a major gift. And I'm pleased to say that the $3 million that Richard Carpenter gave to the Alliance for the Arts for the naming opportunity of Mary and Richard Carpenter Plaza Park, that happened in a 18-month period from the time that he and Mary, his wife, were introduced to the Alliance for the Arts. Now let me back up for a minute and tell you how that happened. We had a volunteer at the Alliance, and her child was going to the same school as Richard and Mary Carpenter's child. So I became aware of that this was a potential contact to the Carpenters. Now, Richard and Mary had moved to Thousand Oaks from Downey, where Richard had lived most of his life with his family and his sister. And it's my understanding that in one of the golf club major areas, he built his house from the very beginning and was involved in much of the design of the house. The house was completed, and we asked the volunteer at our in our organization if she would approach Mary and see if Richard and Mary would attend a Chicago concert. And that was the band Chicago. And they accepted. So that was their introduction to the Alliance for the Arts. They came to a Chicago concert. And we have a founder's circle, a very nice level just above the bottom area, beautiful ability to see the main stage. And that's where our founders, that's one of the benefits of being a founder, is that you have access to that area for clear visibility to the stage. Anyway, I watched Richard Carpenter, or I sat behind him strategically, of course, and I watched him play some of the keyboards, imaginary keyboards, to some of the songs. Anyway, after that event concluded, and that was like in October of that year, so within a couple of months, I got a phone call from Richard, and he wanted to donate a Yamaha concert piano to the theater. Now, the theater is the Fred Cavally Theater. That's the largest theater with 1,500 seats. And the Janet and Ray Shear Forum is the smaller theater. And together, those two theaters, which is another naming opportunity that I'm going to tell you about in the next video, constituted the countrywide Performing Arts Center, which eventually became the Bank of America Performing Arts Center. And it's a very interesting story how I developed that major gift, and it ended up being $4,250,000 for those naming rights. But getting back to Richard and Mary, when he called and said he wanted to donate the Yamaha concert piano, my boss, Patricia, and I, in fundraising is called due diligence, but we knew the piano would be wonderful. And but we went to his residence to take a look at the piano and figure out how it would be transported. And pianos have to have a very delicate transportation so that you try to keep it undamaged and in tune. And while we were at his estate, he gave us a little tour. And as we walked around, I was in awe of the number of gold records and the awards that were hanging on the sides of the walls in throughout the estate. It was really a media wonderful tour of seeing all of these. And of course, the three Grammys that Richard and Karen Carpenter had received from the Grammy people. Anyway, we thanked him for the tour. And when I got back to the office, we accepted the piano. It came over to the larger studio, the Fred Cavally Theater, and it appraised for $55,000. So I thought, well, that's a major gift there, and that qualifies Richard and Mary to be founders members. So I called Richard up and I told him that they were now founder members, which is our highest giving category in annual membership, and that these were some of the benefits, and I thanked him very much. Well, it appears that after that piano was given and I had seen his estate, we always looked for unique venues to have Founders Club receptions and meetings. So I called Richard back and I said, Richard, the Alliance would like to pay for a Founders Club reception at your home. We think it's a great venue, and I think our Founders members would be tickled to death to come to your estate. And he agreed. And that was one of the largest turnouts that we had for Founders Club members. And it also was a opportunity for us to invite potential new members. And we did sign up a couple of new Founders members. So that was worth $100,000 right there. Anyway, it was a lovely event at his home. And he even played the piano toward the end of the program, which was a thrill for all those in attendance. While we were there, I chatted with his wife, Mary, and she said, we got a brochure from the Alliance, and we would like to talk to you about a naming opportunity. So I found out that the brochure was really our annual report, and we always put in there with the naming opportunities that were available. So I tried to glean a little information from her, and I said, well, do you know what naming opportunity you're thinking about? And she said, well, I'm sure you'll try to sell us the most expensive one. And I said, without skipping a beat, I said, well, not only the most expensive one, but also the one with the highest visibility. And she basically said that it was the tower. And when I got back to the office, I looked that up in the annual report, and that was $1 million giving opportunity. Now, at the time, we still had one major giving opportunity, and that was the Plaza Park for $3 million. So moving along, the difference between this one and the countrywide major gift was this one was a presentation. The countrywide gift was a letter only, and I'll read that to you, and that'll be hopefully interesting to you. Anyway, we went up to the Founders Lounge. Richard and Mary came. I was all prepared. Next door to the area that their names would be on the signage, Rick Caruso, a major developer in Southern California, was putting in a high-end shopping area next to the Civic Arts Plaza. And the road from Thousand Oaks Boulevard went right past the signage of the Mary and Richard Carpenter Plaza Park. So that was another major selling opportunity, that it would be high visibility, both from the street and for people going into the shopping center. Anyway, previous to me actually doing a personal presentation, I had gotten permission from the executive committee that if they agreed to do the $3 million naming opportunity, that we could take $1 million and put it into a Richard Carpenter Performing Arts Scholarship. And that would be a program similar to one that was on television at the time, where folks competed in different categories. And so we formulated the program after that. When I got to that part of the presentation, I could see that Richard was very, very interested. And so the key was he pointed to the park, the Plaza Park, and he put his finger right on the $3 million. And I said, yes, Richard, it's a $3 million opportunity. At that time, they looked at each other and said that they could do that. And Mary asked if it could be in payments. And we said, yes, we could do that over 5 years. So we concluded that presentation, went down to the area where the name would be. And another question was, could it be lit up at night? And we said yes to that too. So that was the $3 million from Richard Carpenter that we received. And as I mentioned previously, on each of these videos, I like to end with a legacy quote. And today's legacy quote is from General George Patton. And General Patton said, "A good plan implemented today is superior to a plan implemented next week. And so think about that. But what he basically is saying is be proactive. Most plans have to be adjusted once they're implemented, but a good plan today is superior to a plan implemented next week. Be sure to come back. We're going to tell you all about the $4,250,000 naming opportunity for the Performing Arts Center. Thank you.